I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but my dogs, like, at least 2 of the 3 are snoring in the background of this video. It's very cute. Anyway, today we are returning to Ducktales episodes with the episode The House of the Lucky Gander, which introduces Donald Duck's cousin, Gladstone. I had to think about it for a second. To the canon of the 2017 DuckTales reboot. And like pretty much every character in the show, Gladstone is just a straight modern reinterpretation of a much older Disney character, right down to his central gimmick of just being almost supernaturally lucky. In fact, in this world where the supernatural is basically natural, I could totally believe that his luck is supernatural in nature. I would believe that if you told me. In fact, it seems like he and Donald were together a lot as they were growing up. And Donald is canonically very unlucky. This episode makes that painfully clear. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, somehow Gladstone ended up with all of Donald's good luck or something. Like, if that was a plot point later in the show, I'd entirely buy it. And I like how they imply that Donald's bad luck is the reason for some of his more eccentric mannerisms, too. The premise of this specific episode is that while they're on their way to have a completely different adventure, Donald and Scrooge and the boys, and Launchpad also, but he's not really involved in the episode, respond to a call from Gladstone, a call for help. And they end up at this casino where he's apparently been living, just coasting on his good luck, winning more and more from the casino and subsisting on those winnings. The casino itself being owned and operated by Toad Lou High, a character whose name I would not remember if he weren't an actual character from mythology, which I find very interesting. Unlike the character as he specifically appeared in this episode, I did not find him very interesting in this episode. You guys know how I roll when it comes to uninteresting characters, especially villains. I tend not to remember their names, which really sucks because this guy had the potential to be a really interesting villain. But I'll talk about why I don't think much of him as the review goes on. Now, this episode also has the subtext of Louie? Is Louie the green one? Yeah, Huey has the hat. And the blue one was the one they compared to the Dewey Decimal System, so he's Dewey. That just leaves Louie. Okay, yeah. Louie's the green one. and he's very disillusioned with Donald. That's his role in this episode. It's a kind of a Louie-focused episode, but you'll see what I mean in a minute by kind of. He's disillusioned with Donald. He doesn't think much of Donald, and he, like the others, but more so than the others even, is very vocal about the fact that he thinks that Gladstone is their best uncle. Like, he calls him their best uncle, which is just so mean, just in general. Don't label a person best when others from the same category are right there next to you, especially, but just in general. Don't say you have a favorite person out of a group of people. Don't say that someone is the best out of a group of people unless you're talking about, like, the best at a skill or something. It's just very mean. Like these kids can be really mean sometimes, which, I mean, they're kids. Kids can be very mean sometimes. But, like, man, I wouldn't have had as much patience with this kid as Donald did. Let me put it that way. And once they're actually in the casino interacting with Gladstone, Louie is just all over the guy. He's following him around, imitating his style. It's cute in a way, how much he looks up to this person. But as the episode goes on, it's very clear that Gladstone has some nefarious, probably isn't the right word, some ulterior motive for them being there. Like he seems like he's doing fine, right? He called for help, but it seems like he's doing fine, and he hasn't asked them for any help. But it's clear that he has some ulterior motive for bringing them there, aside from what he claims of just wanting them to be able to share in his good fortune for a while. And I really like how they handled this Louie plot. Donald only lets them stay. It comes down to him getting to decide whether or not any of them stay. Technically, it's just himself and Louie. The others are trying to leave throughout all the rest of the episode, and it's actually pretty funny. Because he sees that Louie wants to stay and spend time with Gladstone, and he wants Louie to be able to do that, but he still wants to stay with Louis and make sure he's okay. And as the episode goes on, it becomes clearer and clearer that Gladstone only really wanted Donald there. Like he's fine with the others leaving, and he's fine with Louis staying if that's what gets Donald to stay, but he really wants Donald there for some reason. And I figured out pretty quickly what that was. They specifically contrasted Donald's bad luck with Gladstone's good luck, and he seems so distraught anytime he wins anything in this episode. It became very clear very quickly that this was like a Lotus Casino from Percy Jackson kind of situation, and he wasn't allowed to leave, where at the very least someone was trying their hardest to keep him there. In fact, the comparison gets a little more direct with the rest of the group as they are led around in circles by the confusing layout of the casino and enticed into staying by things which distract the kids. And it's not like Scrooge can just leave the kids there. Like he might. That's a thing that he might do if he got fed up enough. But like, he's not going to do that. And so as this goes on, and it becomes clearer and clearer that Gladstone is in some way trying to take advantage of Donald, it also becomes clearer and clearer that the attention that he's paying to Louis is really superficial. And Louis picks up on that, and at the same time also starts to pick up on how genuine the attention that Donald's paying him is. And so completely wordlessly, they don't have a conversation about it or anything, Louis suddenly starts encouraging Donald and supporting him, speaking up in support of him. And they reconcile, literally without having to do anything. It was really cool. It was the kind of thing you see between family members in real life. And in the end, it is revealed that Gladstone is a prisoner there, that Liu Hai is basically a luck vampire, feeding off of Gladstone's ridiculous good luck. Of course he's not going to want him to leave. He's basically an infinite food supply. And now that Scrooge and the boys and Donald are there too, he's not going to give them up easily either. And so Scrooge makes a bet. The entire casino transforms into like this weird extra-dimensional casino-themed obstacle course to trap them in as they finally manage to find the exit, thanks to Scrooge's scheming. It was a pretty cool scene, actually. And so Scrooge makes a bet. They play a game, and if Scrooge wins, he and his get to leave. But of course, Liu Hai has Gladstone. He literally can't lose. And it gets even worse when he's pitted against Donald, whose luck is literally the opposite. It seems absolutely hopeless, but what you have to remember is Gladstone has been coasting through life on his good luck literally forever. And yet Donald has been faced with the exact opposite of that. And not only has he survived, but I was going to say he thrived, but that's not exactly true. He's done pretty well for himself. And he's fairly skilled because of that. He keeps going. He keeps beating his proverbial head against the wall until it breaks, until he can break through and keep going. And so he's able to muscle his way through and actually win, at which point Scrooge convinces Liu Hai that if Donald was able to beat Gladstone, he must be luckier. So Liu Hai throws out Gladstone and keeps Donald for about 3 seconds, which is all the time that it takes for Donald's ridiculously bad luck to starve Liu Hai and banish his casino to another dimension or something. It's absolutely hilarious. In fact, this episode from beginning to end is absolutely hilarious. The humor in this is top-notch, varying from just like dialogue-based humor to slapstick humor to situational comedy to clever witticisms, and even a bookend with Launchpad where he goes off on his own adventure and we only see little implications of what that might be at the beginning and the end. And the very end of the episode where they go on the adventure that they had originally intended to and it turns out to be lame was pretty funny as well. While the episode did primarily focus on Louis, the other kids were great. They mostly just did stuff in the background and in the B-plot with Scrooge trying to find his way back out. But they were absolutely hysterical the entire time. And Scrooge kept insisting throughout the entire episode that his success over the years has had nothing to do with luck, and he proves that by defeating Liu Hai entirely through wit and skill. Though that's my one complaint about the episode. Liu Hai is supposed to be this character who feeds off of luck. Therefore, he would have to understand how luck works. And yet Gladstone at the end of the episode spells it out for us that he's still the luckiest because him losing to Donald got them all out, and that's what he wanted. So the fact that Liu Hai didn't pick up on that and let Gladstone go at Scrooge's prompting is just, it's asinine. It's kind of asinine. I don't buy that he would have made that mistake just because of who he is. Like, I get that he does nothing within the specific context of this episode to imply that he's clever enough to see through Scrooge's ruse, but I mentioned that this guy's an actual figure from mythology for a reason. He's an actual figure from mythology. He has like a whole history to him. I don't know much about this mythological figure myself. I just know that he exists, and I skimmed a little bit of his Wikipedia page, but I don't buy that he would have been tricked that easily. Still, this was a really strong episode. Like, Gladstone's kind of a dick, but he is a genuinely fun character and absolutely hysterical. Like, I'd never hang out with somebody like this in real life. I imagine they'd be pretty insufferable, but I can't wait to see him return in the show, and I can't imagine that he's not going to. He is the epitome of the lovable asshole trope. And just like every episode of the show, there are gags all throughout it that it would take far too long for me to go into detail about individually. You just have to watch the episode and see them for yourself. And yet on top of that, they had time for genuine heart, for a genuine heartfelt story between Louie and Donald. And Donald actually got to do some stuff again, which is always fun. I like this version of Donald a lot. All in all, I just think that this episode is an example of basically everything that this show does well, all rolled into one 22-minute story. Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, you might as well like the video and share it with anyone else you think might enjoy my content. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm trying to get myself out there, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys could help. After all, I don't exactly have Gladstone's luck in my corner. That was a really bad attempt to link my outro back to the review itself. I apologize. You can also check out my social medias. Links to those will be in the video description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.